What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today on episode 71, we're finally talking about the 2022 Predator prequel. There's a lot of P's in that sentence. Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Oh.
Hello! Finally, we're talking about this movie. Came out
a
few months ago, a couple months ago. Has it been that long?
Well, yeah, I don't know. We talked about it at one point.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can remember.
Came out in August. Came out at the beginning of August, so it's been almost 2 months since it came out. And everybody under the sun, podcasts galore, have talked about this movie, and we're really late to the party. So instead of doing our normal fresh cut, we decided we're just going to do our full podcast episode on this movie.
Wait, did we not do a fresh cut?
We did not on this. The movie we're going to be doing next week, we did do a fresh cut. Okay, Dan, I think you know, and you'll just be like, oh, when we get to the end, we announce what we're doing.
you mentioned like, oh, we're doing that next week. My eyes were just glossed over. I was like, nope.
You're like, great.
I know, right?
The mouse is on the wheel, spinning as fast as he can, and then he
mouse wheel with the sign that says out to lunch.
no, your mouse runs and runs and runs, and then it's one of those woo.
It stops moving when it's whipping the wheel. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Prey today, which is the prequel to the 1987 Predator. This is the fifth Predator movie, solo Predator movie. Let's see, Predator, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, and now Prey. We don't count the Alien versus Predator. Those are their own entity, and maybe one day we'll talk about those movies.
Got to make use of that $4 Blu-ray.
I have AVP, the first AVP on DVD back there, and I got it when it came out.
You're a brave soul. Admittedly, there was hype behind it. Like, dude, AVP, it's going to be awesome.
Of course, that's two huge franchises, clashing. It was something that had been talked about for a long time. But today we're talking about Prey, which is it's a prequel. It's set in the early 1700s. It is, I'm trying to best describe, I'm trying to do like a non-spoiler breakdown of this movie, like slight breakdown. Predator is a rocky franchise throughout its lifetime. So this movie was released on the 35th anniversary of the Predator from 1987, which starred Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we got the Predator and then Predator 2, which was, it's a very love it or hate it type of movie. It's set in the city, and the setting wasn't something that people really liked, but it's gotten a lot of love in the last few years. And there are people out there who have loved it since it came out. I was always somebody who enjoyed Predator 2. But then when they came out Predators, which came out in 2010, which was a weird concept for it, for the whole Predator universe, where it was like the people were dropped onto a hunting reserve planet. And it was just pretty much the Predators would go and just hunt. There were like prisoners, and they were really bad people that were dropped on this planet and hunted by the Predators. And there was different types of Predators. And then we got The Predator, which was directed by Shane Black, which was, he was in the original Predator. He was one of the soldiers. He directed like Iron Man 3. But they tried to bring it back to form. Yeah, I know.
Oh, that was
the best of the Iron Mans, right?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, Shane Black came in, tried to do something original, and it just didn't land. And so, like, the Predator franchise it really hasn't been a franchise where, you think of like the entirety of the franchise fondly. It's usually like the Predator. And then, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of love for Predator 2. And then, like, Predators was pretty good. But there's, also people who don't like that as well. So this was a breath of fresh air for this franchise. They decided they wanted to set it back 300 years before the original. It takes place, in the United, it wasn't technically the United States at the time, but it was,
North America,
dealing with, natives of the time and like everything that was going on during that time, not just, and then it was just like, let's drop a Predator into this real world situation. which is how Predator has always been. Other than I think the Predator kind of went away from that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of the other Predator movies, but
Absolutely not.
The Predator it's a movie. I really thought that this was a great idea. It was something, that was, new and something that I would love to see more of, especially if there was like more Predator movies based in other times, not just, today. I love the feral look of the Predator. He looks unlike any other Predator that we've ever seen on film. And there's a lot of people who don't like the look of this Predator. I'm somebody who does like the look of this Predator. But we'll talk more about that when we get into it. I just this is a breath of fresh air. It looks beautiful. It was acted amazingly, and the visuals were great. But the only thing I think that was disappointing was the fact it wasn't released in theaters.
Yeah,
straight to Hulu. I think it was the fact that like the last couple Predator movies didn't really do well in theaters, and so they just kind of didn't want to take that risk. So they said, we're just going to release this straight to Hulu. Disney probably paid them a lot of. They said, here's all this money. Don't worry about it. And this is what we got.
That's still bullshit. I'm sorry.
I know. This movie would have been awesome to see on the big screen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As movies are intended. Sorry, guys.
I've done a lot of talking already. I want to hear what you guys thought of Prey. When did you guys see it, and what did you guys think of it?
We're gonna give one-word answers, okay?
Well,
On your Parker, talk more.
we watched it for movie night.
This is beginning of August. It was around the time it came.
Yeah. So whatever. I guess the Friday after it came out. It would have had to been the Friday after it came out because that's our movie night in our Discord.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember you guys did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we first watched it. I loved it. But I've only ever seen the first Predator.
Which is the best one.
Which
is the best one. That's why I have it on display here. It's the only movie
I don't know if I've ever seen it all the way through, though.
Yeah, you have.
It's
you haven't, believe me. You'd know because you'd be a sexual tyrannosaurus.
But I don't. There's a lot of movies that I've watched that I don't remember. I could watch them again and be like, "Oh, I guess I forgot this happened." So, like watching Rambo. I've watched it again since I remember first watching it.
Rambo First Blood.
I was like,
Rambo.
I don't remember this, but I loved it. I love the look of the Predator. I love the Naru girl.
Yep.
Amber Mid Thunder. Loved her. So awesome. Loved the dog.
Dog was cool. Dog was dope.
I love the fact that they kept the Comanche
dialect.
Yes.
They used the Comanche language.
Yeah. And not only did they do the whole cut in the Comanche language, but they kept like a lot of their
actual exchanges in the movie.
Yeah, the actual exchanges in the movie. Like
with no,
I guess.
Sorry, with no translations. Like,
just like
when she would speak Comanche to is it pronounced sorry? The dog.
Yeah, that's actual. I guess that's what dog is in Comanche.
Oh,
so I guess.
Come on, dog, you're my new best friend.
I mean.
So I call dogs. I don't know. Like, what's up, dog?
Yeah. So I really enjoy that because I don't know if this is true, but growing up, I was always told that we're part Cherokee. So seeing Native American in movies and actually being
represented
by the actors and actresses, I think is
really
awesome. But yeah,
cool.
All right, Dan, tell us how woke this movie is. All right.
Yeah, I was about to say this movie's woke as fuck. I was literally about to say that before you said anything. That was going to be my starting line. So I'm glad we're on the same. No, anyway, that's bullshit. I don't. That's dumb as fuck. Anyway, dude, like there were women doing things in other areas of the part of the world. We aren't. That's just a fucking cliche from I think European cultures mainly, but I could be wrong. But yeah, women do stuff. Women don't just make bread and have babies. They do other things. It's okay, guys. It's not like a modern statement for that to be. Anyway. Anyway, none of that bullshit. I liked the movie. That was fun. Dude, awesome, brisk. What, like hour 37 minutes?
Oh, it was
Some shit
over in
like
a
that.
flash. I watched it last
It was
night. And I was like,
fucking
holy
great.
shit! I let my oldest watch this movie because I'm trying to let my wife be like, it's fine. It's just got a little blood. It's okay. It's a movie. Like trying to let my wife let my kids watch some things that might not be appropriate for children. So like he got to watch this and he really liked it. Asking some questions while we were watching it, which was fun. Since I had already seen it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, it flies. It's like, holy shit, it's over already.
Great, dude. Yeah. You get some downtime where there's some explanation, and it's cool to see like the characters just doing their thing. Sometimes it doesn't always have to be like super relevant to the plot, but it kind of, I guess, adds to the movie without, because it's not like they're doing it to drag the movie out. It's an hour and 30 fucking minutes long. It's not like a 3-hour movie. They're just like, let's do this random bullshit, like they're making breakfast or whatever. So, none of that, isn't it? But I like the characters. Again, I like Naru. I like, I think Tabe. I don't know how you pronounce his name.
I think it's
her
Tabe.
brother.
It's Tabe.
Yeah, the cool guy. They have a whole arc together, so it's cool to watch that. It's cool to see the French as savages. It's fine, they are. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's okay. I don't think anyone downloads this show from France, so
they ain't now. That's for damn sure.
Like, I don't know.
But
I don't want to.
I like when there are other languages are introduced and you get no subtitles, as you should, because you don't know what the fuck
you only
you're
get
saying.
Subtitles, but in that language, and so you're like, oh well, that's
like with the French. I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I had 2 years of French in high school. I'm like, I know this word, and I know this word, and I know this word, but I have no idea what they're saying.
That's something me in German. It's like you say a number, I could probably get you. But
and the first time I ever watched this movie, I was like, is there a way I can change this? Is there like some setting I need to put where I can get that but no, they made it that way because it's supposed to be from Naru's point of view, and she can't understand what they're saying. So you're not supposed to. It's the same when they speak Comanche.
Yep.
I don't know Comanche, so why would they translate it for us?
Yeah, which is great. It puts a nice language barrier. It puts you more in the setting, more immersion, I think.
But you still know the tone and kind of what they're getting at. It's that context clues.
Yeah. So according to Dan Trachtenberg, the reason they did they would like Naru or other characters would speak Comanche and then it would kind of go into English is you're supposed to imagine them still speaking Comanche.
Yes. Which makes sense. That's what I figured they were doing. Like they're leading, because they would start speaking it and then bleed into English. Like, Anyway, I liked it. It was good. I love the Predator. I thought the Predator was cool. I thought the build up with like there was kind of like the thing going on with him at the same time. I liked it. The only thing I'd probably say is I think they leaned a little bit too hard in some of the digital effects areas, because I know the Predator itself was actually a physical suit and it worked and everything like that. I think they leaned a little too hard into the digital instead of letting the practical effects do their thing. Right. But that would probably be my major gripe with the movie. But it was quick. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the different setting. I enjoyed some of the references to other films that I recognized. But yeah, it's a good movie. You should definitely should give it a watch. It's definitely worth your time, as long as your Hulu's fucking working, because ours isn't, and we couldn't watch it. So
that's very key.
Yeah, so we're going off of almost a month and a half, 2 months since we watched the movie, something like that. And it was so maybe not be as fresh for us. We're gonna try.
Can't watch Hulu on anything anymore.
It's your fault.
It's not my fault. I've done everything I know to do, and it still won't work. Besides calling him and giving him a piece of my mind.
I love this movie. I would say it's probably, I think the original Predator is awesome.
Yes, it is.
It's the effects that they were able to do, the creature design for the Predator in the original, with Stan Winston, that was unreal. Kevin Peter Hall, he played the original Predator, and Dan DeLegro is the one who played Predator in this movie. He stands at 6'9". Kevin Peter Hall stood at 7'2".
Holy shit!
And R.I.P. to Kevin Peter Hall.
Yes.
Yeah, this movie is I love it. Watching it last night, it it made me love it even more. I love the setting. Like I said earlier in the show, the performances are excellent. Amber Midthunder is just a badass, who is just determined to, prove herself. And I think that's a really cool thing. A lot of people will
Yeah.
say, like we're going back to the whole woke thing, and it's trying to make the woman the stronger, unbelievably strong in a time where it wasn't as realistic. It's like, what are we talking about here? It's a fucking movie. Like,
Yeah, not to mention, how many of us are fucking experts in that time period? Because I guarantee most of the people reviewing this movie ain't.
Right.
Like, I'm an expert on late 1700s era America. And,
Were you around then?
yeah, I know everything. Yeah. I know how they spoke and their culture and all this bullshit. Like, sure you do, dude. Just sit down, Junior.
It was one of those things. Just like, how could she, Arnold, Arnold and all those big beefy guys from the original movie. How did all those guys? How did Arnold barely survive beating a predator, but she could do it on her own? I was like, you do realize they're two different predators, right? Like, this is 300 years. Like, if you look at this predator, which is called the feral predator, in the credits, he's just the predator, but he's considered the feral predator. You could tell it's like simplistic, like his mask, and he doesn't have the laser cannon, because I'm either guessing it didn't exist at the time. Like, that's why he uses the guided arrows that match up with the laser on his helmet.
That was really cool.
Just the different things that he was able to do, like his armor, like he barely wore armor, where you look at some of the predators from later films are a lot more armored.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a completely different design. This is 300 years. I mean, you got to think, like, even 300 years ago till now, human beings evolved. Yeah, we do look similar to what we looked like 300 years ago, but we've evolved from that time. The predators are a lot more advanced than us. You can tell even with this predator and the things he was able to do, but even 300 years for them they're going to be able to evolve and create the equipment and and have the technology they had for the modern predator.
Well, and also for naysayers for how the predator, like, just aesthetically looks. Like, I'm gonna totally steal from the movie dumpster. I don't remember which one of the gentlemen said it, but while we all look similar, I do not look the same as a man that lives in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just the way it's the truth. I mean, we all humans do look similar, but we do not look identical.
Right.
So, but anyway, no, I agree. And not to mention, when you go back to the first Predator, comparing, like, it was all beefy, strong, oily men fighting these guys, fighting the Predator.
They were,
both of which were out of their environment, even though the Predator had, the more advanced technology.
Yeah.
But they had to beat it through tactics, not through sheer strength. And it was the same thing with her. She's familiar with the environment, though she is not as technologically advanced. She knew the environment and how to use it.
Yeah. She was using the experiences she had gone through as well.
Yes. Yep.
To then use it against this predator who is not familiar with the landscape, because he is. I mean, ultimately, if you think about it, the predators are just sent to Earth to hunt for sport. It's not.
Yeah, that's it.
They're trying. I don't know what the end game is over on Predator Land. The Predator Planet or whatever the fuck it's called, because you literally never see it in any. Well, you see it for like a split second in, I think, AVP Requiem. It's weird.
Yeah,
but you don't know ultimately why they're doing this. Like, are they preparing them for an army? Like, what is the purpose, end game for what what the Predators are doing?
I just assumed it was I just assumed it was like, since they're very like honor, like they give like honorific society, like they're all about honor and integrity and morals. Well, their sense of morals, but they're not like a mass murdering species. I just assume it was just a rite of passage. Yeah. No different than what
it's
the Native Americans
going through the same things, right?
It's no different. They just don't have interplanetary travel. So I mean,
what the heck? What is the native word for the Katsumiya? That's like the rite of passage
Yeah.
thing they go through. Yeah, they're going through that. They're doing the identical, like they're doing the same thing. She's trying to prove herself to, not just to show her tribe that even though she is a female, she can do exactly what the guys can do.
Absolutely.
And what this predator is doing is ultimately like, I am able to take on whatever I face on this unknown planet, or this planet that I have never stepped foot on.
Yep.
Interesting concept, and I think it works from beginning to end.
I like it.
There's not,
I like it.
Other than some questionable visual effects.
Yeah.
This movie is damn good. It's probably one of my favorite movies I've seen this year, and that's saying a lot. I've seen some really good movies this year, but Prey is like, I feel like this is a movie I could keep going back to and enjoying it every single time. So this movie, as we said before, is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, and the only other movie that he has directed was 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is the sequel to Cloverfield, which I don't like.
Kind of.
It's a great movie. I really want to talk about that at some point. John Goodman, amazing.
Yes.
It was written by Patrick Azon and Dan Trachtenberg. Patrick Azon was more of like a TV producer. This was actually his first movie that he ever wrote. This was based on, of course, the Predator was ultimately created by Jim Thomas and John Thomas. They played executive producers on this movie, and they've, I think, produced all the other Predator movies. It stars Amber Midthunder, who at first when I saw this movie, I was like, oh, I don't know who this is. And then I looked back, and she was in a show that I watched that I'd never finished because it's a fucking weird show called Legion, which was like an X-Men weird spin-off show about Legion, who I guess is like the son of Professor X. It was a weird fucking show, but I watched it and I forgot she was in it. But then I remembered she was actually really good in it. Coda Beavers, this is his first film. He played Tabe, and he did amazing. He just, I think he killed it.
Yep.
Dane DeLagro, as we talked about before, he plays the Predator, and his movements and everything, especially when, I mean, of course, there's a lot of visual CG stuff, so it's not all him, but any time you see anything up close and where he's not really moving a lot, I think he really portrays the Predator really well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shout out the cinematographer, Jeff Cutter, because the visuals in this movie, I believe this was filmed in Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say, I looked it up.
Primarily in First Nation land, which is awesome. They actually brought in a Comanche, they brought in a producer who is Comanche to kind of make sure everything was accurate to the times and to the Comanche people themselves. I don't think anybody in the cast was actually Comanche, but everybody was native in some way or form.
Yes.
I think the land that they filmed primarily was was the Nakota land, which Amber Midthunder, I guess, is part of that tribe.
Okay.
Which is really cool. I just like the fact that they brought somebody in. They didn't just kind of like Dan Trachtenberg, who is just a white guy, came in and decided to make a movie about Native Americans and kind of just puked it out and didn't really pay any respects to it. He they brought in somebody to right the ship and make it look, make it work accurately, to not anger anybody and to just respect the people of the time and respect everybody who is part of all those tribes, which is awesome. It's always awesome to see.
Always. I like that.
I want to talk a little bit about Sari the dog. She is a Carolina dog, which I guess was a descendant of dogs that actually were from that Native Americans actually had. They look very wild. I love this dog. This dog is
awesome. It's freaking cool, man.
And it was literally adopted for the movie 2 weeks before they started filming, which is crazy. And they weren't expecting to use her as much. So the dog is a girl, but in the movie they call it a boy. It's a boy. I don't At least that's
I
from
thought-
what I've read.
Her name is Coco.
It's Coco.
It was 2 months, not 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Not close.
Sorry,
enough.
I was just reading
you're good. You're
the
good.
trivia.
The special effects was done by Amalgamated Dynamics. They did a lot of the special effects and the creature effects. And then ILM came in and did a little bit of touch-up stuff here and there. Because ILM is everywhere. Everywhere. Side note, if you want to watch about the history of ILM, watch Light and Magic on Disney+. It's fantastic. Brings you through the entire history of the company. And there it is. Little side note. It's on Disney+. And the music was done by Sarah Schachner. And Trachtenberg was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Heard the music. It was amazing. Saw who did it. And that's who did it. And he's like,
That's cool.
I want her for my movie. And there we go. So this was released, first released in July during Comic-Con. Got a huge reception. I know they did some theatrical kind of premieres for it for like influencers and all that stuff. And then it was released August 5th, 2022 on Hulu. I really need some behind the scenes stuff for this movie, or I need a Blu-ray release for this because I really want to own this. I really want to see some behind the scenes stuff. I've watched some stuff here and there on YouTube. I've seen a lot of like the Predator tests and stuff with the actual practical Predator masks and stuff like that. And man, I'm really like when people kept showing me the scene of the actual Predator, the practical Predator head, like moving and all like the intricacies of it, and then they kind of glossed it over with CG. I was like, oh, that's so sad.
I know.
I don't know why they gotta do that, but I don't understand, but I do in a way. It's like they want to make sure like every little detail is being projected onto the screen. You know, as much as it looks really cool, like, you know, even if like that one, whatever, the mandible, like just looks too jittery, then it just throws everything off.
Well, I mean, you can augment that stuff with CG as opposed to just like
doing
like cover
thing.
it with it.
Yeah,
I know, right? Like the artists work hard on that. And no offense, guys, like I get it, but practical, honestly, at like especially with close-up shots, usually looks better than CG because CG looks fake all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sometimes you're gonna need to do it for like crazy shots and motions and shit. But
you guys ready to talk about the plot?
Yeah.
All right. So this movie opens up. It says a long time ago, a monster showed up, and I was like, okay, we're getting right into this.
What movie are we talking about? Like, what's going on?
We meet Naru, and she is scavenging for some roots with her cool hatchet.
Yeah, I can't get the Star Wars song. Weird Al Star Wars.
Long time ago.
In a galaxy far away, Naru was under an attack.
It's really almost. We're getting there.
No, but I like the narration from Naru about talking about how like a long time ago, you know, something came from the sky. There was a fire in the sky, and a monster, you know, showed up. Yeah, and she's digging some roots. You know, she's doing the woman, you know, the tasks of that mostly the women would do. And she's got her
stuff.
Yep, she's got her good pupper right there with her, which is always nice. And boy, does she know how to throw that axe. And all I could think about every time she'd use it, I just like, I want to play God of War so bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just think of those axe. I just think of those axe throwing things we have over here with all those drunk people doing axe and shit around.
Yeah,
it's just a pain.
Axes and alcohol.
That you throw the axe and you gotta go get it again. It's like, man, that's a pain.
I mean, you just do like she does later.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is we got another reference. A deer shows up. She's like, a whitetail. Ooh, gotta get that. And this was one of those scenes where you're like, I guess I gotta expand my disbelief here, because how the hell is she keeping up with this deer? So she throws the axe, misses the deer, hits the tree. I love how she does like crazy parkour. She like slides into the tree, grabs it, but then she's running, and the deer is like right there with her. And I'm like, damn, is she that fast? or is this deer just not running very fast? How fast do deer run?
They're pretty quick, dude.
Yeah,
Google.
that's what I thought. So poor Sari gets cut or gets caught in the trap. The tail, at least it was just the tail. All right, it wasn't the leg. That would have been a lot worse. But he gets the tail caught in the trap. She and we find out Naru is very good with like medicine and the treating ailments and all that stuff. So she puts some stuff on the tail. She's good to go. But she hears something. She hears something like something in the sky is booming, hearing some things that you wouldn't normally hear back in 1719 when this movie takes place. But speaking about that, that's what scares the deer. It wasn't her throwing the axe. It was the boom from the sky that spooked the deer.
Yeah, SpaceX, we got it.
Really, really great shot though of her and Sari standing on the cliffside, and you see the ship in the clouds, kind of going over.
Yeah, it's a lot of good actually. There's quite a few like moments of cinematography, like large, like sweeping shots or panning shots. They're pretty cool.
And that's where you get
the area they filmed in was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, untouched by man.
Yes.
And that's where we get the title card.
Yeah, pretty bitch.
So this movie's original title was Skulls, but it was changed to Prey. I think it was only a few months before the movie actually released.
Both would have worked.
I like that it's Prey because of the fact that the original is called Predator.
Yeah,
a little tongue in cheek there.
Yes.
We then meet Tabe, which you find out is Naru's brother, and he's telling a very boring story, at least to Naru, because she's aiming at a hawk that's flying by, and she's slowly aiming at it, and she like pretends to sleep, and it kind of annoys him to the point where he just snipes this goddamn hawk right out of the sky. Just
yes.
She's like, I was waiting for it to come back around, but now you got to go across the river. That sucks for you, bud.
Yeah,
because you can tell it takes a long time because she goes back to the. Is it? Do you consider it a camp? What do you call it?
It would be a camp
because
they're
all live.
If they're a hunter-gatherer tribe, they would move.
The reserve.
So it's out. Yeah. Well, no, they wouldn't have a reserve.
No, because that would be yeah.
It would be a camp because they would move camp based on food availability.
So yes, she's because she gets back to the camp, and it takes him a while to get back with that hawk. He comes back unless he's talking to people outside. I don't know.
She probably is cutting it up with him.
She tells him, but after he shoots the hawk, she talks about the Thunderbird, which is the ship that was flying overhead earlier, and she talks about how she wants to participate in her rite of passage, just like they do. And he's like, well, I mean, I know you can hunt. So, I know that I know you can do it. It's just the fact of like, can you actually do it? Because you hesitate too much. And that's her biggest issue for most of this movie is she hesitates. But then by the end, when everything kind of falls apart, that's when she actually can do things without hesitation.
Makes it happen.
Mm-hmm. You get a nice little mom-daughter talk. She's talking about she's just pretty much talking about her proving herself and, participating in her rite of passage. And she talks about the plants. She got the orange plant, which is later like a huge factor in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how the mom's just like, how do you know about this? And she's like, because you told me. Where have you been? Mom,
busy being a mom.
Stop eating all the flowers that get you all weird.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's what. No, but that just feels like a parent thing. Where'd you learn this? You told me, like, oh, yeah,
oh, okay,
yeah, okay, fair.
We do talk a lot, so I guess you're right. Tabe finally shows up with the hawk, which I thought was funny. And this next scene is when you get to see the predator get dropped off. And you don't really get to see what the predator looks like because he's cloaked most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we see her because you hear the clicking which is such a great sound design. I love the clicking, especially how they use it in this movie. A lot of times where you're like, you hear the clicking, you look, they like pan into the woods and you don't see it. And then later on you kind of see it and you're like, oh man, it's just so eerie.
I can imagine that drop off. He's like, hey, listen. We're going to be back at Harold. Pay attention. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. If you're not here in 2 weeks, your ass is left.
We talked about this. Make sure you don't lose your mask.
Yeah.
And if you do, don't use your arrows. This is crucial information. He's like, I got it. Don't worry about me. And then they come back and they're like, son of a bitch, Harold.
Don't fuck up the mask. The mom's going to be pissed.
Oh, God. So Naru goes out and digs more of that orange flower. I don't remember what it was called.
They gave it a name. I don't recall.
It's got a really cool effect, though. A lion has taken one of the men. I think they just called it a lion. You're like, all right, well, I guess here they call it mountain lions, or at least a lion. Where there's 4 different names for a fucking mountain lion in the United States, and it's annoying.
Yeah,
mountain lion is the coolest name out of all of them. Cougar, get out of here.
It's a lion.
Florida Panther, fuck off.
I know, right? Their team sucks, dude. Who the fucking cares?
Even though they were the best hockey team last year. But I digress.
That's just technicality.
Just
what do they know about snow?
record-wise, okay? They didn't win the Stanley Cup.
They don't know shit about snow.
This is where you... so they go out. They are going to go search for the missing guy. I love it when it's like 4 guys. It's Tabe and then like 3 other guys. I don't know their names, but they're going through. I really love the shot where they're going down the trail and they're kind of panning up, and then they can hear the clicking behind them, and the one guy reacts to it, and you're like, oh shit, are we already going to get an interaction between the predator and the guys here? But you don't. It's Naru. She comes around the corner, and everybody's like, oh, it's just Naru, lame girl. Go dig some more plants, lame girl. And Tabe's like, shut the fuck up. She's probably better hunter than all of you. So she comes, she's like, I want to help find him. And he's like, well, okay, you better, because you have to. I love that line. Yeah. He's like, you have to find him. She's like, I will. He's like, I know, because you have to. And I was like, what a line, Tabe, badass.
And also, I mean, like he mentions, he's like, well, I mean, her medical knowledge will be important, because if we find him, he's likely going to be injured or dead. So
we then get this is the worst like CG of this entire movie is you get the ant that crawls up the predator's leg, then it gets eaten by the mouse. Then it gets eaten by a really bad CG snake, which then senses the predator is there and goes right before it's about to bite him, just stabs him with his cool fucking wrist knives.
Yeah.
It's a terrible, it looks really bad.
I just think a rattlesnake, Jake. I'm sorry. Fucking Rango.
Rango, man. We're going to do Rango someday. I
Rango
love that movie.
Rango is a great movie.
So good. Oh, man. Rango. Damn. I want to talk about Rango. So they're continuing their search. They find some mountain lion scat. Love is like, yeah, scat. Got to touch that scat.
Ain't no scat. There ain't no litter boxes around here. Shut the fuck up. She knows what she's doing.
And then right after they find the scat, we're about 50 feet away, they find the half dead guy. Naru gives him some of that orange plant, which you find out turns him cold. It like makes his blood cold, so it actually flows slower. So it pretty much helps with blood loss, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Probably keeps him from going to cardiac arrest and shit too.
They built the most, like, this fucking stretcher is cool, man. They freaking like tie this thing up, get it all set up.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And it's time to bring him home. And you got that one guy who's just like, he's gonna like, no, like, fuck you. He's like, no, leave him alone. He's cold for a reason. Like, I'm helping him. I know what I'm doing. He's just like, no, we gotta do. How about you shut the hell up and we just move along here?
Are you the medic?
Yeah.
Then go the fuck away.
God damn.
Go tend
you always gotta have this guy.
I know, right? Mr. Know-It-All.
So this is what confuses me about this next scene. So Naru finds the skinned snake, And it's like, okay, and it still moves somehow. I guess it must be just a final, nerve, just a little twitch there. But it's still got the meat on it. So like the fact that he removed the bones from this snake perfectly, and snake bones are very fragile, by the way.
Yes, they are.
I don't understand this at all. So like you see the bones, it like pans up to the tree and you see the snake skeleton in the tree, but you see the meat of the snake on the ground. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I was just overthinking it. There's a lot of blood in that tree too. Okay, go ahead.
That orange flower is, I guess they call it an orange tutsia, or however it says this flower seems to share many similarities with the calendula plant, which are orange and were used during the Civil War to help stop blood flow from battle wounds.
Okay.
So it's a real thing. It wasn't just movie bullshit. Yeah. Okay, good deal. Not that this movie has a lot of that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. She also discovers there's a huge ass footprint next to the snake carcass, and she's like, "That ain't anything I've never seen before. It ain't a lion, and it's not a bear.
Man, bear, pig.
Yep, 100%. That's exactly what I thought. If it wasn't like, where's that movie? Well, let's make that now.
It's some random Sasquatch derivative. I don't fucking know.
So yeah, I like how Naru talks about it, the footprint to Tabe, and he's like, "I ain't afraid of no bear." I don't think it was a bear either. Have you ever seen a bear footprint? It's not that big. Like this thing is like, this is Bigfoot size footprint.
Plus the shape's all the fuck wrong, dude. Come on.
So it's time. It's time for her to do her Katsumiya. They go up into the tree. And of course, she's got to sit there with some dickhead who's just giving her shit about how she hasn't done anything and she won't be able to do this. And I mean, she doesn't in the end, but it's like karma because he talks all this shit. And then the lion attacks him, drags him away.
Yep.
Bye.
I was hoping she'd have shot him with the arrow.
I'll see you back at camp.
So I love the lion looks really good because it's in the dark. So like the CG looks a lot better because of the fact that it's in a dark environment. She though can't take the shot. The lion, or she gets distracted by stuff going on in the distance. Like the predator's doing something over here. She gets distracted. She like a sweep. She like falls off the tree, smashes her head on a rock, and then wakes up 4 hours later. Like, I think you're going to be asleep a lot longer. And the fact that the lion didn't come down and attack her also, I was wondering.
Well, she did wound the lion as well.
Did she shoot it before she fell?
Well, when she fell, didn't she stabbed, like, didn't she have like a makeshift spear she had or something?
Oh, yeah, she had the spear up in the tree. Yeah,
she got it in the side when she fell.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Gotcha.
Which, I mean, that was like, you getting a good midsection there of a cat like that, you're going to hit something important.
So Naru wakes up and, she's got a splitting headache, probably a migraine. And she's all like, "Where's Tabe?" And he's like, "Oh, Tabe carried you home." That's not what I asked. Where is he? Oh, he's going after the lion. She's like, "I got to go out there and do it." She's like, "You can barely walk. Like, you literally were carried home by your brother." But she talks about how, like, she did good. You know, the guy that they found that was taken by the lion is alive because of her. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, there you go. There's your gold star for the day.
Yep.
So Tabe comes back and he killed the lion. He's got the head in his hand. He's got the body over his. I'm like, Tabe, you're a badass, man.
He is a badass.
And with this, he becomes a war chief, which is cool. And I love how he's got the blood still like underneath his eyes going down his face, and there's some he's got a couple scratch marks on him. Like,
it's literally tuckered the fuck out.
Oh yeah, he's spent. He's gonna have a good long sleep that night. And Tabe, I like the fact that Tabe comes up and he tells Naru that they did it. Like, we did it. We killed the lion. She's like, "I didn't do anything." And he's like, "Okay, well then you didn't do anything. I did it all." I was like, good on you, Tabe. The fact that he doesn't tell her that she actually wounded the lion until the end, I kind of like that. The fact that it was like, just take the fucking compliment. Take this little
Yeah.
bit, all right? I'm not, I'm trying to help you. I want you to succeed. That's like
Yep.
that's Tabe's whole thing is like he wants to see Naru succeed. He doesn't want to see her fail. He wants to see her achieve things that women weren't achieving back then. At least not a lot of women. And unfortunately, she is just so strong-headed that she's just like, nah, I didn't do anything. And he just got to the point, he's like, okay, you didn't. I did it all. See you later. And she continues talking about like the things that she saw out there. Like she knows that there's something big out there. And he's like, what? No, you're not doing this. You're not going out there for something you don't even know what it is. She's like, well, if you're not going to help me, I'm just going to go. So she goes off. And she does some, she does some investigation stuff, and she finds some predator blood, which is that like lime green fluorescent blood, which is really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not acidic like an alien.
No, absolutely not.
And she finds another footprint. I like how she uses the stick to measure how big the footprint is to kind of have an idea. We then get our next hunt. We get a wolf hunting a rabbit. So I guess there was some shots in this that was an actual wolf, and then most of it though was CG. So the wolf the wolf runs after the rabbit, gets the rabbit, but then gets fucking like thrown by the predator. Like the predator's kind of just watching from the distance, but then comes in and like intervenes, and the wolf's just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Squares up, and this is great where like the wolf like lunges at the predator and the predator slices him. But instead of it just like falling dead immediately, it turns around to like, it looks like it's going to come back at the predator. And then like all of its insides just fall out. And it just collapses. And you're like, oh shit. It does get a good bite onto the predator though. I think it like grabs onto it. So you can tell like the predator is still like, this isn't like a very, I mean, it's skilled, but it's not like it's learning. Like it's like, it takes a lot of licks in this movie. It chops off the wolf's head. It will actually rips off the whole spine with the head attached, and you get the predator roar. Naru makes a rope that attached to the hatchet, which is so cool. And then I'm like, I could just think of I just had the God of War music playing in my head. I'm like, oh my god, I need to play God of War so fucking bad.
Yes.
God damn, I can't wait for Ragnarok. So I also thought of Mortal Kombat as well. Get over here.
Yes. I think I said that a few times.
Yep. I think it's a good idea. It's a clever idea.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. She kills a lot of rabbits. She's got a lot of rabbits, and it's what she has for dinner. She even gives some. Sorry, I'm like, good on you. Make sure your dog is good, well, and fed. You get the cave scene with the predator where it's cleaning off the wolf skull. I like the little spray that it uses. That kind of like dissolves the fur, the skin, and everything. Just brings it down to the skull itself. And it attaches it to, it's like a trophy. It attaches it to its belt. And it hears sorry in the distance. It's like, ooh, what is that? And then roars again. Naru, the next day, I love, though, before we get to this next scene, where they're sitting at the fire and they're eating, and she's like, next time you're cooking.
Yeah.
Dog. The next day, Naru finds a lot of skinned buffalo. And I'm like, sons of bitches. White people!
You gotta love us white folk.
So I guess back in that, and so you find out it's French fur trappers. And I guess in this time, I guess this was a pretty inaccurate depiction of them for this time. I guess this type of stuff didn't happen until actually like almost 150 years later. I guess when the French came to the United States, they actually adapted a lot of native customs where like when you hunt something, you use everything.
Yeah.
And even at this time, they would have been doing the same, but I guess they wanted to make sure that, you got to have your other than the predator, you got to have your other villain. And the French fur trappers were that.
Make them look Make them look like real assholes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it said it wouldn't occur for another 160 years.
Yep.
So
So the predator is sniffing out Naru and Sari, so it's hanging out in the water, kind of seeing what's going on. This is where we get the mud scene. I'm like, damn, I'd be so scared. She is so calm. And I just go back to Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, one of the best Indiana Jones movies where he's in quicksand.
what I was.
And I just made so many people mad by that statement. And the whole thing is Indiana Jones is afraid of snakes. So Shia LaBeouf's character, he's like, oh, I'll go get a rope, and he grabs a giant like boa constrictor to use as a rope. It's outrageous. But it just reminded me of that. No, I'm just kidding.
I was just thinking, Atreyu,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
No.
never-ending story. Yes,
No.
that's where I was.
R.I.P.
fucking
Wolfgang
horse.
Peterson, the director of Neverending Story.
That's all I could think of. I was like, dang it.
Yeah, she gets stuck in this really, like, I don't know what is it this considered? Is it just a swamp? Is it like quicksand? Like, it's not quicksand because it's not sand, it's mud. I just called it quick mud. That's what's in my notes. And she uses her now new tool, her hatchet with the string on it, to try to get it caught so she can kind of pull herself out. And it's a bunch of it's one of those typical for a movie where she gets it right at the last moment where she's about to go completely under the mud. And it's like, I get it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I gotta have a few cliches, huh?
Yeah. But I love how, like, all these things that are going on with her, all these things, like all these trials and tribulations she's going through, it all will make sense in the end. It all comes together in the end with how she defeats the predator. She gets herself cleaned up in the river, and she goes down by the river and finds a bear in a van down by the river. No, Chris Farley was not in this movie. So yeah, she finds a very CG bear hanging out down by the river, just snacking
Winnie the Pooh.
until she decides to shoot at it. And this was the thing where something that she said earlier in the movie kind of bounced back at her, because when she's with Tabe earlier and they're hunting the hawk, and he kills the hawk, and she's like, oh, well, now you got to cross the river. Don't get your bowstring wet. Her bowstring is wet, and that's why it snaps and it breaks off. So it's like, everything fucking connects.
Yep.
God damn it.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
So yeah, so she tries to shoot it. Bowstring breaks, alerts the bear. The bear then can sniff her out. So it goes up the hill to try to attack her. She kind of like maneuvers her way down, and Sari actually distracts the bear, runs away, and the bear chases after her. Naru then.
This was where they were going to kill the dog, and I was like, if they kill this dog, I'm not watching the rest of the movie.
Fucking mad.
HR pup and stuff.
Oh man, that would have been terrible. So she goes. She goes down to the bottom, and she's waiting for the bear to come back. And as the bear's coming back, she takes the worst shot. It's like the quickest thing. She's like, and I was like, oh, what? Why? You didn't even aim.
Yeah.
She just runs away. And bears are terrifying, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
This grizzly is. I listen, even though it's CG, it still scared me. I was terrified. I was like, this.
I didn't like the way it looked.
I was just thinking when the
was a little rough
crocodile
looking. I'm like, do bears all grizzlies? Like, I've seen many nature documentaries, like, and this is the 1719. Like, why does this bear look so ragged?
Yeah. It seems
it looks like it's been through. Yeah, exactly. It's like it looks like Scar from The Lion King. Jesus.
Well, if it had like I was saying just a few seconds ago, if you had to worry about crocodiles in the water like that bear has to, that would. Ain't no Betty Whites around at this point in time.
Oh no. We've lost Betty White and we've lost the Queen all in 1 year. What is the world?
I know.
No.
Betty White was supposed to outlive everybody.
Mm-hmm. So she goes to like a beaver dam. Like she goes into a beaver lodge. This is technically a beaver lodge.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. You do that.
I don't know who I was doing that to. It wasn't you. I was just doing it.
Don't do that shit. No,
And
God.
she jumps,
We
she
should
gets
do that
into
as
it. You know what's more terrifying than the fact that the bear was attacking the lodge is the fact that she runs. You know how like you can't run really fast in water. Humans can't.
Yeah.
But a bear is like, water's nothing. I can still go 35 miles an hour running through water. And like, that is terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Damn this bipedalism. It's like,
Ah! So she gets in there. She's getting attacked by the bear. Then the bear gets distracted. He's like, what the fuck? Hello? And it's like hearing the clicking in the back. And then it fucking attacks you see it attack something. And then of course it like fucks with the camouflage on the predator. So it's getting attacked. The bear, like the bear's getting some good licks on him. You get like bites its leg. You see like the green blood coming out of him. And then the bear kind of like walks away because like the predator gets like knocked down and the bear kind of just like, yeah, fuck you, buddy. And then the predator gets up and the bear's like, all right, and turns around, comes back, and the predator just fucking cold cocks this bear in the side of the fucking head. It just fucking flops into the beaver lodge. And she's just like,
what in the
happening?
fuck?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
when
you
you've got
just-
something this big that's this close to your face.
Oh my. And
Like-
then the whole thing where it doesn't show the predator, but it just shows the bear being dragged out of the dam, like just lifeless. And then it just picks it up with its freaking claw things. It's just raining blood all. I was like,
Yes.
this is fucking cool, man.
Yeah, so metal.
So cool. And then she leaves and he's like, I'll get you later. Literally, he knew.
We'll
he
see
knew
each
she
other
was there.
again.
Yeah.
He ain't no
Holy
stupid.
shit. It's wild. That whole scene was wild. Other than the bear
it's
looks
crazy.
weird,
It's good.
but it was
Yeah.
still a really good scene.
A little bit of a dopey bear. It's fine.
Tabe sends out a search party for Naru. Naru runs into a few of Tabe's friends, or other guys from the group, and they're all like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Where's Tabe?" And she's like, "Oh, Tabe went to the other side to look for you, but you're not going anywhere," because she was kind of determined to be like, "No, I'm good. You guys don't need to be here. I'm fine." And they're like, "No, you're good." And she gets into a scrap with one of the guys, and she's got the upper hand, and until like they just cheap shot her. They just like, she's like, I won this fight, and then one of the guys just grabs her and like throws her towards the guy she was fighting, and she turns and he just pows her right in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like, jeez,
Cheap shit, dude.
damn.
It's like those people, used to get in fights and shit in school, and it was never one-on-one because somebody always brought their fucking buddies with.
Yeah, usually how it goes. So
Unless it was the girls, they would fight one-on-one.
the slap
Girls
fights.
fought hard.
Yeah.
Oh no, they would pull. We had a fight at school one time. I remember this. It was in the main lobby, and everybody was watching it. And I had come up on almost the end. Girl had taken a girl by the head and slammed her head in the floor, and all you hear is this loud thunk.
Damn.
Don't you be touching my man!
No, they fought
I'm
hard.
just kidding. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. That's stereotyping. I apologize.
Jesus, Dan. So Naru
Not you.
gets
I'm
tied
being
up.
Sensitive.
Not you.
Yeah. No wonder no one listens to our show.
I know, right?
I'll dance.
It's white people, right? It's my fault.
White
I'm sorry.
people are the problem.
Yes, yes.
I'm not wrong.
Remember World War II? White people.
You're not wrong. We'll end there. Even though there's a lot more we can talk about.
But I got all these notes.
That's the notes you
Just
took. You didn't take any notes on the movie. We're talking about
This is-
the white problem in this country. There's a lot of it.
Yes.
So Naru gets tied up and she gets like thrown behind a log because they can hear the clicking. And so they're reacting to it. They're like, oh, what's going on? And I like how you hear the clicking, and when they show the woods, you can actually slightly see the predator in a tree, kind of just hanging out there, camouflaged. But they can't see it. And one of the guys shoots a possum. He's like, oh, is the possum going to get us? And she's like, well, why do you think the possums ran in our direction? They're like, I don't know. Clearly, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Listen.
Gotta have those guys.
I don't know what to say other than like these characters are just like, you don't want to see people die, but like, you're an idiot.
They're just kill fodder, dude. That's all they
And
are.
the dude had to go take a shit. I love her. He's just fucking gripping that tree. And imagine hearing that shit though, while you're taking a shit in the woods. I mean, I know that's what they mostly had to do back in the day. They didn't have toilets. It's just
Yeah,
you drop a deuce wherever.
You're like, oh god, hurry up! I gotta pinch
But he's
this
literally
off.
like holding that. He's gripping that tree, and he hears the click, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" But it almost saved him, by the way.
Does the predator like hunt people that shit?
No,
Does he like want to give him like a fight?
He wasn't a threat. He was in a position where the predator just didn't see it to be worth it. You know,
Yeah, he was definitely in a position. That's for fucking sure.
So the predator shows up, and he just fucks up this entire group. You get the Wilhelm scream. Yeah. You're like the guy who gets thrown across the line.
I love the Wilhelm
scream is the best. Dude, one guy gets his arm chopped off. One dude is just it's a bloodbath. Like it's
doesn't somebody like turn into a fucking stump? Like he gets like almost all of his limbs cut off.
Oh yeah, he
and,
like the predator literally just takes like legs and arms, and yeah, he's the guy from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He's just like,
yeah.
I still get you. I'm fine. It's just a flesh wound.
Just to bite him.
Yes.
So yeah, the predator just absolutely destroys everyone here, and this is where you kind of get the first full look of the predator because this camouflage kind of goes away, and you can see what he actually looks like. I like the mask. I like the mask in this movie. Mm-hmm. So the mask he wears is from a creature that you see in the movie Predators. It was like another species that they would go to their planet and hunt them, kind of like they do with the humans.
Oh,
and so that's kind of like a trophy. And of course, he installs the laser guided thing, arrow device into it. Oh, we forgot to mention that the first guy he kills is with the awesome like 3 dots, and then they move, and then
because it like gets him in the eye, and he's like,
yeah, because he puts his hand up over his face.
Yeah, he's like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah. It's just like the fur traders in later in the movie when you're like, what are you doing? Run!
Yeah.
Why are we staring at this?
What is this thing?
Naru Escapes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You always. It seems like we just never. It's never at the right time here.
It's part of the podcast, dude. People understand it.
Naru Escapes. I love her little. She like fucking flips up her hatchet, takes out her restraints, and then she just runs. Sometimes it looks like she's running really slow, and then there's other shots where she looks like she's fucking flying. Like there's shots where it shows her from the front, and you're like, she looks like she is not moving very fast. And then some shots from behind where she's like cruising. So she gets into the tall grass and she gets pulled down by the guy who was taking a shit earlier. He's like, shh, quiet. Something happened. She's like, no shit, I was there.
She's like, I've been trying to tell you this.
I know you're a little late to the party, but I'm not going to explain.
So he gets his bow out and he's about to go shoot the predator. But the predator, he's like, I think I got him. And then, of course, get the laser on the head. And he's like, no, he's got you. And he pulls him down right as they go by. And this predator is fast because they go to run. And she outruns the other guy that she's with. She's like a good 20, 30 yards away from him. Like, damn, she's cruising. Because he gets fucking destroyed, man. It's just, it's literally, he gets knocked down and you just see a geyser of blood. It's like Johnny Depp's death in Nightmare on Elm Street. Yep. I'm like, oh, this poor guy.
Didn't even need to flip a room for this one.
Nope. So she thinks she's in the clear until she steps in a trap. And her ankle gets pretty screwed up. And the predator finds her. I like the fact that he picks up the chain and he notices like, well, she's not a threat anymore, so I'm not going to kill her. He also hears the fur traders coming in the distance, so he kind of like goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
And this is where you get the fur traders. She's taken captive. A man named Raphael asks about what happened because he knows, I guess. So he's speaking Comanche to her, even though it's supposed to be him speaking. In the movie, he speaks English to her, but he's speaking her language.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, people. So she also finds out that Tabe got captured as well. And you always got the leader of this group is just this short, grimy fucking dude with a big old fat cigar hanging out of his mouth.
Yep. Piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. And so they know about the predator. They know it exists, and they want it. They want to kill it. So what they do is they tie Tabe and Naru to a tree in this really ashy area. They must have been had just burnt this part of the forest down.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming happened.
And so they tie him to the tree to lure the predator. Well, the predator is a hunter. It's, it wants to hunt. This isn't hunting.
Mhm.
And Naru figures that out because the guy, it's funny because you got fur trappers on like the hill, and there's guys on the horses, and the guys on the horses are getting killed. And they're just like, what the hell? And then the horses run. And the first thing Naru goes is like, I gotta get one of those horses. Or not Naru, but Tabe.
Yeah,
I gotta get one of those horses. And then the guys notice that the predator is attacking them, and they can hear the screams in the distance, and then all the gunfire and stuff. And that's when the predator just comes in and just lays waste to everyone here. And of course, while all this is going on, Tabe or Naru is trying to come up with a plan to get them, loose from the tree. The predator, this is so cool. He uses his cool shield. He's got the net that like dissolves, like it like fucking tears into people because he throws it on top of the guy who's on the log, and it just, and you just see little chunks of the dude. Like, this is so cool.
Bitlets.
I love him leaping from the trees as he's going overhead. But my favorite is when he gets shot at by a bunch of the guys. He's got his shield up, and they all look, and they're like, shit. And they got to reload their gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guess what? Guns back then weren't so great.
That was the style at the time.
And so, they get screwed up. And that's when the predator uses its, so Naru talks about, tells Tabe a story about a beaver who got stuck in a trap and had to chew its leg off. And Tabe's like, okay, this is an interesting story to be telling. And she then uses a bear trap that is conveniently right there to break loose the, their restraints.
The chain. Yeah.
And she's, I don't think it was chain. It was only rope because she got stuck in the thing and just like pulled it off. And she's like, but I'm smarter than a beaver.
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was really good. Also, we get the line, if it bleeds, we can kill it, which is a line taken from Predator, which was spoken by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't do an Arnold. I can't do it. I'm sorry, everybody. I can't do it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. Yeah.
Get to the chopper. That's actually from the Predator. That's actually from Predator, by the way.
No, nothing similar to that. Nobody's like, get to the boat or anything like that. No, nobody does.
Get to the horses.
Do it now.
That's the one I always.
So the Predator, which is actually something that is said in this movie.
Yes.
To a degree. So, so they escape. Tabe, he's like, I gotta go get a horse. Naru goes off. The Predator decides to use its cool little on its wrist, and it drops it. So in the more modern Predator movies, it's like a nuke. It just sets off a nuclear explosion. This is more of like a EMP blast. It's weird because you only see it from a distance, but these guys, they find it on the ground, and then those things come up in the air, and they're just like, ooh, what is this? Oh, I like that you got the leader back there who's like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go light up another cigar. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Don't worry, guys. I'll join you in a bit. I'll be dead soon. And you get the shot from the distance where they all blast, but Naru never turns around. She's just walking. She's just going. She's gotta go.
Cool guys don't look at explosion. Guys, this is a generalization.
She goes back to the camp because she's got to get sorry, and she fucks up everybody in this camp. She just just and doing this is a scene from God of War. Like she's just throwing her hatchet, just pulling it back. I was like, oh my god, this is insane.
Axe plus blade. What is the blades called? Curse blades, whatever you use.
Oh, the blades of
Olympus. Talking
about. I got hung up back there.
Yeah.
Actually,
it's like you combine.
They're right here.
It's like you combine those two weapons together, and she's just fucking.
Oh yeah, she's just destroying everyone in this camp. And Raphael shows up. He's missing his leg. Who cut off his leg? I don't know. Was it the Predator? Maybe. And he's like, help me. I need help. So she helps him, and in return, he shows her how to use a gun. He gives her a revolver. Is this a revolver? Technically,
No, it's a flintlock pistol.
Okay. So he gives her the gun, teaches her how to use it. So this gun actually shows up in Predator 2. At the end of the movie, when Danny Glover kills the Predator, the city Predator, the other Predators come down and they're like, "Good job. High five. You did good.
Jeez.
You proved yourself." That's the weird thing about the Predator species. Like, you just killed one of our own, but good on you. Here's a flintlock pistol. It's the same pistol that is used in this movie. It kind of plays all. I guess there was a comic that came out in the 90s that kind of was. So Raphael was a pirate, and the gun played a factor in it some reason. And I guess they changed it for this movie. But that's where that gun shows up for all of the diehard Predator fans out there.
And hey, shout outs to Movie Dumpster for teaching me that for their 2.5 hour long episode on Predator 2.
Hell yeah.
It's a great episode.
So I like that we got the two scenes of the Predator and Naru healing themselves at this kind of the same time. You got the Predator using its like, more advanced healing where it puts like goo in it and it heals it. And then you got Naru who has to like chew shit up and fucking I hate these things where it's like, anytime you watch a movie that's set in like this time and like they gotta like chew up some bark and shit and then shove it into their massive cut and you're like, it's getting infected. That person's gonna be dead.
This is just delaying the amputation.
Yeah. So, and then of course she hears the Predator kind of coming, so she gives Raphael the orange flower, and he goes, "Oh, what the fuck?" Yeah. And he kind of tries to crawl away until he sees the Predator is about to be there, and then he plays dead, and she hides behind a tree. And I was like, okay, well, this guy's a pretty smart guy. But unfortunately, the only reason that he got caught was because the fucking Predator stepped on him and he reacted to it. And the Predator's like, oh, he just killed. Yeah. I think it was more of like a reactionary thing where he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's what it was. I think you're right. Like, because he can't see him thermally.
I don't think he would have killed him. I think the Predator would have just walked over him.
Isn't that where she figures it out? Like that he
can't see him.
Yeah, because
where she realizes the flower is because he's got the heat-seeking vision and all that.
And where the flower makes your lowers your temperature.
Yeah, well, of course. I just couldn't remember if that was the exact scene that happened.
Sari attacks the Predator, knocking off its mask, and that's when Naru realizes that the mask controls where those arrows go. Because it starts to shoot the arrows and it goes exactly where those 3 dots are, which are attached to the mask. I don't know. I can't call it a helmet. It's a mask. It literally sits on its face.
Yeah, just.
Tabe shows up and continues the attack. He's getting some good blows in. You see the Predator, but he's getting some good licks in. He just stabs him in the foot and stuff. I'm like, damn, these Predators got to be really strong in the fact that it's like some of the things that happen to this Predator in this movie and it just keeps going like nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. It's
well, strong. I mean, the dude almost bare hands a bear.
That is true.
He's like, I'll fucking take you.
So Tabe's fighting the Predator. The Predator goes into its cloak mode and Tabe yells out in Comanche, cheater. That's what he yells.
Yeah, because he's not facing one-on-one.
You're a bitch. You're a bitch, Predator. Come out and play.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he does the bitch move by stabbing him in the back. But Tabe knows it's about to happen, which I thought was a cool little touch where he knows that the Predator's there. And he's like, you got to go, Naru. You got to run. And then he does the whole line about like, this is where it ends right here.
Yeah.
Which is what he tells her to say to whatever she's going to kill, which eventually turns into the Predator. So you think Tabe dies. Tabe gets fucked up. He gets the knife in the back. He gets picked up and then thrown down. But then he gets one final blow where he takes the wolf skull off the Predator and stabs it in the leg. And then he gets killed.
Yeah, he gets donezoed.
Oh yeah, he's knocking up after that one. Naru cleans herself up. while it shows her cleaning herself up at the river, and of course she's going through the emotions. Her brother just died, and she witnessed it, but it's also the mother being notified that I'm guessing that Tabe's dead. I'm guessing that's what it, maybe they think both of them are dead. So it's kind of like, hey, both your children are gone. We find out that slobby ass fur trader is still alive. He's over on like the far side of the river cleaning himself up. And Naru would like a chat with you, sir, and knocks him the fuck out. And he wakes up, and this is nasty. He's missing something. Hopefully that's not your good leg there, pal.
Yeah.
The rats have been chewing on it. Yum, yum, yum.
It's called setting up a trap.
She sets up to kill for the predator. I love this whole thing. She takes the orange flower to hide herself so the predator can't see her. And yeah, he pretty much sets it up so like she gets the fur trapper as bait. The predator attacks the fur trapper, cuts off his head. A lot of decapitation in this movie. She then takes the flintlock, figures out as she finally is able to use the gun. Because before she tries to shoot it and it doesn't work. Like she didn't do it properly. And she fucking blasts this thing in the back of the head.
Back of the head, dude. It's awesome.
And his mask flies off. She takes the mask and she gets the fuck out of there. I'm like, how did he take? Okay, I don't understand Predator anatomy.
I wouldn't say nothing because it was a hell of a blow to him. Like he clearly was staggered by it. So she just hauls the fuck out of there too. Yeah. It's great.
She's just gone. The final battle then commences. We get the predator leaping from all the trees. You get Sari ambushing the predator, getting a couple blows in, and then you get the epic tree leap where Naru's up in the tree and she jumps off and stabs him with the hatchet, and then she's fighting with him. And of course, he gets his way. You could see like the difference in strength between the two. Like Naru is not about the strength; she's about strategy. She's not using her strength to beat this thing. Because he literally takes her with one hand and just tosses her. Like, oh shit, this thing is crazy. And she chops off its arm. Throws it. She chop it off with his own spear.
Yeah, his stick. Yeah, his little
the little spear thing that like shoots into the tree. She like takes it out, cuts off his arm. And then tries to stab him with it, but then it retracts, so she can't. And of course, he fucking smacks her. Now it's one-armed predator versus Naru. She holds herself up pretty well.
Yeah,
and
she does.
You get the scene where he has her pinned down. He's got the shield, and he's about to like pretty much cut her head off with the shield, but she scoots herself up between the rocks, so it like pins itself, so it can't. It can't like cut any farther. And then she rips one of his mandibles off, and I was like,
oh yeah, it's just
goddamn. This dude is just getting fucked. Out of all the predators in all the movies I've seen, I think this predator gets pretty fucked up. Like I think he gets the most fucked up of any of the predators. Sari assists with the final ambush where he jumps on her back and they're doing her thing, and she jumps onto its back, ties the rope around its neck, jumps off to like the safety of the mud and pulls him into the mud. And it's a really weird fall though. Like it looks like it's just a dummy. It's just like
yeah. I will give you that. That's true.
He sinks to the bottom of the mud, and she kind of thinks, okay, this is it, until he get like the epic rise from the mud. I'm like, how is he doing this? Is he fucking Jesus? Like he's rising like Jesus on Easter Sunday, like time for some chocolate, bitches. And you're like, whoa, Jesus.
No, see, here's the thing: we're gonna make a connection here. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Bumbles bounce. Predators are buoyant. They just float. They just float, dude.
They just float.
That has to be it. That's our scientific hypothesis. Pennywise. We have some evidence for it.
As Pennywise would say, we all float down here.
I'm not saying the guy's testicles are like buoys or anything. Like, bloop, bloop. Well, that's what I thought you were implying.
I mean, I'm surprised we didn't get no pred nads. He's wearing that little loincloth the whole time. Like, what's going on down there?
Sounds like a medication. Prednats. Hey, let's go to the pharmacy and grab some Prednads. I got that itch fierce, Martha. Damn it.
God damn. So, of course, she sets up his mask and like props it up onto in between a couple rocks. And he's so fucking mad. He doesn't even care. He aims his arrows. Does he not realize that they're not going to work properly? He doesn't have his mask on.
You know, I wonder if this is any correlation to how injured he was prior to the fight, and then like this substantial amount of injury he did take, and especially one of those being a pretty gnarly head wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it compromised his ability to fully process things.
Yeah, to think properly. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, he's obviously instinctually knows what to do.
And I just think he's like, I'm done with this shit. This bitch needs to die. Like, I'm so over everything that's happening. This wasn't what I signed up for. And then the other players are like, this is exactly what you signed up for. Yeah. Harold. God damn it, Harold.
Yeah, Harold, listen. It's like, this is a shitty ass version of fucking Boy Scouts, guys. Come on, this is not what we the Pred Scouts.
Pred Scouts. So he shoots her with the arrow thing, but it misses, of course, and it like circles around because the laser is actually aimed on the side of his head. And then you get the really this made me laugh is when it's coming at him and he turns, he just goes, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, Tim Allen, is that you?
Thank you. That's good.
Oh god. And it gets a fucking headshot. And it's dead. Yep. And it does a nice little plop in the mud. And then we see Naru bringing it back to the camp. She brings back the head. And now she's a war chief. And she uses, and of course, she's got the predator blood on her face, which is like really cool. I thought that was really cool. But she knows there's danger in them hills over the yonder. You're like, oh, because you see it at the end of the credits that there's more, and that's it. That's Prey. We go actually, it's not really. We get the really cool end credits. Well, it's not really end credits, but you get the credits where it's the it's like hide art.
Yeah,
where it shows like the events of the entire movie, and then it shows her bringing the head of the predator to the camp, but in the distance, predator ships come from the clouds, and you're like, oh my god. They're probably just coming down to high five her and say, hey, great job.
Yeah.
You killed Harold. We told Harold and he didn't listen.
Yeah, nobody liked him. He's a fucking dick anyway.
He never listened. We gave him all the fucking information. Never take your mask off. Never shoot the arrows with your mask off.
I know, right? This is why we snap fingers at him. He doesn't focus. He's ADHD, man, I swear.
Golly.
Pretty HD. I just can't keep going.
There we go. That is Prey.
Good.
What a fun movie. This was I'm glad we finally were able to talk about this almost 2 months later. Go ahead, Dan. I know you're
dude, I'm just excited. I agree with you. I'm glad we did get to talk about it because I could swear that we did a fresh cuts, but I did not realize we did not do a fresh cuts on this movie because we watched it for that reason.
We did a fresh cuts in your head. It's okay.
It is literally. I'm just glad that you validated one of my shitty ass jokes on your podcast. I just want to say it took 71 episodes. I got some proper validation. 71.
It didn't take 71 episodes. I laughed at most of your jokes.
Yeah, but you were like, that was a good one. That's validation. Laughter can be like, oh, that dumbass.
Well,
I'm gonna humor him.
We've been married 15 years, and I a lot of you.
Carry on, Parker.
No, I'm just happy we got to finally talk about this movie in
it was good.
Our normal podcast forum where we could break down the plot and talk about all that. That was a lot of fun. Next week, for episode 72, we are going to be finishing the Jurassic series.
Oh, fuck.
As we do a full podcast episode on Jurassic World Dominion. Am I excited about this?
No.
Not really. But the reason we're doing it is because we have talked about every single Jurassic movie. And it's something, and we're also celebrating an anniversary because the release of the Jurassic World Dominion episode will be almost to the day a 1-year anniversary of one of our, not one of our, but our highest viewed podcast episode on YouTube, Jurassic Park 3. I can't believe it's almost been a year since we did that episode.
Yeah.
And how far we've come since that episode. So we are, to celebrate the anniversary of our highest viewed podcast episode, Jurassic Park 3, the third movie in the Park trilogy. Why not talk about the third movie in the World trilogy, Jurassic World Dominion? God damn, I can't wait to talk about bugs.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. Gotta love that fucking plot point. Woo,
and
woo.
maybe, just maybe, we'll have a guest on the show. Do I know who that guest is? Nope, but there might be a guest. Stay tuned for that.
I'm glad none of us know what's going on. This is fantastic.
That's what this show's all about. It's off the cuff, baby. There's no planning.
That's true.
It's going, hey, you want to be on the show? If they say no, you're going, all right, thanks. Thanks a lot.
I like how he does like the impersonation of like a ringmaster at a circus when this really is like a fucking circus.
It really is.
It's so good.
You think people like look at the name of our show and go, and then they're like, oh, they must be really intelligent. They must break these things down point by point. They're dissecting these films, right? Yeah. No, it's not that at all. It's all
we got you, bitch.
It's like, you can't go anywhere now. We got your download now.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
He can't read?
Absolutely not. Marky Mark. He just has everybody read stuff to him.
Jesus Christ. So yes, next week, Jurassic World Dominion. Listen, a lot of people are like, don't cover movies you don't like. Guess what? Sometimes you got to just make those sacrifices. Yeah, I know. I don't know.
You got to have a balance, dude. Yeah, you got to have a balance.
I'm not going to sit here and rage and throw fists and stuff about this. But we've already talked about this movie on A Fresh Cut. If you want to know what we thought initially about this movie, go back and watch it. I am going to be watching the extended edition on Peacock, which has the fucking prologue that was supposed to be in the movie. And there's some other stuff in there, but whatever. I probably never watch the movie again after this next viewing, but whatever. We got to finish this. We got to finish this saga. This is the saga that started Dissect That Film, and we got to end it. We're not ending Dissect That Film. We're just ending the. This is it, guys. This is the last episode. Bye.
Yeah, we're done. We're out. Don't worry. This next episode.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It'll be good. No, I was gonna say it's good. I think it'll be good. I'm actually really wanting to be because I want to see it again.
Yeah.
However, I need to figure out how to buy the movies again.
Yeah, at some point I will. I'm not worrying about it right now. With just how much I don't care about this movie, and to be honest, with world movies in general.
Maybe I'll wait for like a sale. I just want to buy the first 3 on 4K. Like I've got the other 2.
I might just do them individually. They have them individually 4K.
Yeah, I have not bought the new one, obviously, for obvious reasons. I'm not rushing out for that one.
Right.
But yeah. No, I'm gonna think of a better subtitle between now and then. I'm thinking like Grasshoppocalypse. There you go, something like that.
And after Jurassic World Dominion, we're going to be going into spooky movies. We're going to be we're just going to be venturing into horror movies probably for a good 4, 5, 6. I don't know. As long as we want until Christmas time, then we're going to be getting into Christmas movies. We're all going to be sitting down. We're going to be talking about what movies we're going to be talking about. Maybe we're going to get some people on the show because I want more people. I'm sorry. I have been meaning to ask people to be on the show. I've just been craziness between vacations and COVID, and I'm still not 100%. Like, I have been very lackadaisical when it comes to the show, other than the fact that I edit the show and I get the show out on Fridays. That's as much as I've been able to handle lately. So I apologize. I have so many people in my head that I want to reach out to be on the show. So it's going to be coming. So there you go. Before we ramble on too long, thank you very much for all the support. Make sure, hey, there's a lot of people downloading our show on Apple Podcasts. And guess what? You can leave a review about our show. You can even write something. You don't have to write anything. Just leave us a 5-star review or whatever you think we deserve. But please, if you download our show on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating. If you listen to us on Spotify, leave us a rating. We need some more reviews so we can actually pop up on the charts there. And if you listen to us on Good Pods or anywhere else that you can leave reviews or leave just star ratings, do it, please. No. It helps us get out there to more eyes and ears. And if you listen and watch us on Oh my God, I'm burping. I apologize.
Barpa.
If you watch our podcast on YouTube, make sure to leave us a like, leave us a comment if you want, and make sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. It's free. Please.
Yeah, make a comment about asking Parker what the fuck he was thinking wearing that shirt today.
This one?
The
only reason I wore it is because it had like the green. I was like, oh, it's kind of like the Predator blood. It's kind of.
I thought Angela was shitting on your shirt.
I don't have a lot of shirts.
I don't either. And I thought Angela was shitting on your shirt because she was giving Victor crap about wearing tie dye. I was like, you're like coming down the park.
No, it was that green and it's green and white. I don't even think the shirt necessarily fits him, and he was wearing it. It was just something that he picked up out of the.
All right, everybody. Before we get into too much of side tangents,
yeah, sorry,
already stopped listening. But thank you. You can find us at Dissect That. You can find the show Dissect That Film everywhere: Twitter, really Instagram, TikTok, maybe other places. I don't know. Dan and Angela, all of their links are going to be down in the description, along with my personal links. They'll be all down in the description. We don't do that whole thing because it's hard. They have
it's right there. Why we?
Yeah, why? It's already there. Just go down there, click the goddamn link.
Right, yeah, why do we need to repeat it? Just click.
And make sure our music, our intro and outro music, I'm going to start doing this more. Our intro and outro music is done by the amazing Dark Razard. So make sure to go over to Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music. Type in Dark Razard, download his music. It's awesome. It's DMCA free, so you can listen to it on streams, podcasts, and stuff without getting struck by those stupid studios. Do that. I love you all. Thank you so much. I am your host, Brett Parker. That is the amazing Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 71. Love you all. Goodbye.
Bye.